Hello, everybody. We're excited to be here today introducing Bitdefender MDR Foundation. My name is Ron Jarvis from Blue Chip, and on behalf of everyone here today, certainly I'd like to thank you for taking time to be with us. Blue Chip is certainly a proud Bitdefender distributor, and it's our pleasure to be able to bring to you from Bitdefender today. We have three guests. So we have Erin, Greg and Jaden joining us, and Michael a little bit later as well, so there will be a fourth. There has been a late change to the lineup. You would have seen on the invitation Kevin Dyson. Fortunately, Kevin's not well and can't be with us today, but we have certainly a very able replacement in Greg Ryan, who's the Regional Sales Director for ANZ for Bitdefender here. I'll let Greg run through and do a bit more introductions a little bit later. Before we do kick off, so today's agenda, we'll be going through the introductions, obviously, on the MDR Foundation. But at the end of that, there will be a Q&A session where everybody will have the opportunity to ask the questions or get into a discussion on anything or the topics that they went through there or anything they're not sure of. Then we will also be running through a quiz. So we have some quiz and we have some prizes and a lot of opportunity to win something. And certainly that's going to be a bit of fun. And I believe there's also going to be a voucher for everybody that is attending today, a $10 voucher that will be arranged. So with that, I will now pass on to Greg, who will give an introduction on Bitdefender here locally, and then we'll do the introductions to the presenters as well. So with that, I'll pass on to Greg. So yeah, enjoy everyone, and we'll talk to you very again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate the introduction. For those that don't know me, I'm Greg Ryan. I've been with Bitdefender a couple of months. I joined with Kevin, and Kevin and I have worked across the industry for about 30 years in various roles together. But unfortunately, Kevin's unwell at the moment, so he's not going to be here. But it's great to see so many partners involved today, and that's really important to us. One of the things that Kevin and I discussed when we came on board was to get a buzz back into our channel, and we're lucky enough to be working with Blue Chip, and it's great to see, you know, so many partners here today, and it's, you know, it's a really important presentation today from Erin and Jaden and from Michael Reeves from our product team. MDR from us is very important. We know that, you know, the end user customers are struggling with retaining expertise and staff with burnout, too many tools, too many alarms, and just that ability to respond is really, you know, getting harder and harder. So the team at Bitdefender have come up with MDR Foundations, and I'll let Erin and Jaden and Michael go into depths about that. But it's really about, you know, getting more out of your staff that you've got on board. They're hard enough to get on board and hard enough to keep, giving you more predictability and control over your budgets, and most importantly, getting you time back. You know, it's so important in companies at the moment. Time is one of those things that you just can't buy. So, you know, MDR Foundations will, you know, give your teams back time that help you focus on what's really important. So that's really where, you know, what all I wanted to really say. It's great that we've got Erin and Jaden here today. I've heard their presentation before. It's an excellent presentation. Please take advantage of the Q&A session at the end. The prizes and all that are really good, but the Q&A at the end is very important. And please, if you've got any questions after the session, please come back to me. One of the things that we do want to do is engage with our channel much more effectively. And if you haven't met me, reach out to me. I'll be reaching out in each state coming forward to meet with our partners as well. So that's, yeah, again, trying to find, you know, get a buzz in our channel. So look, without any further, I'll hand over to Erin and let you hear all about the exciting announcement of MDR Foundations.
Thank you, Gregory. Hey, everyone. I'm Erin Myers. I'm a senior manager of product marketing at Bitdefender. And, we're thrilled to be here today to speak with Blue Chip and partners and talk about our recent addition to our MDR portfolio, MDR Foundations. As a note, Jaden will not be joining us, unfortunately. He's in the hospital. Otherwise, he would absolutely be here. He has substantial FOMO about this, but he's resting up, getting better, and hopefully we'll be able to communicate with him at a later date. I'm also going to go off camera because I can't figure out, I have so many screens open and I can't see what I need to present. But I definitely will walk you through the launch. All right. Okay. So as I said, I'm Erin. Jaden unfortunately can't be with us, but Jaden and I lead up the MDR product team. And we've been working on Foundations for around 9 months about. Feels like 100 years, but it's only been around 9 months. So today we're going to be talking about some market problems, the market and the segments that Bitdefender MDR currently sit in. We're going to give you all the details on MDR Foundations, talk a little bit about support, as well as some resources that can help you guys out. Okay, so when we started on this process of building MDR Foundations, the first thing we did, we went out and talked to customers, disties, RMMs, MSPs, end customers. And we realized we kept on hearing the same market challenges from all of these different organizations and types of organizations. First, there's little or no in-house security expertise. Skilled analysts are in short supply, and teams struggle to effectively combat threats when they don't effectively have a team. The latest stat I've read, there's currently like 2.72 million unfilled cybersecurity positions. Skilled expertise is hard to get, and it's expensive to get, which makes it out of reach for a lot of less resource organizations. Next up is complexity. There's too many tools with too little knowledge regarding how to use them. Just think of how many SaaS apps, well, you guys are in the morning, but it's evening here, and I've interacted with about 15 different SaaS apps just on my phone today. Think about what that looks like when it comes to cybersecurity infrastructure. Like, organizations can't keep up with the number of tools required because it increases the attack surface. At the same time, attackers are getting better, and the sophistication of attacks is increasing. Next up, alert fatigue. There's frankly, IT and security teams are getting too many alerts with too little context. And there's challenges when it comes to prioritizing these alerts according to severity. We spoke to customers and IT teams, and manual alert triage is probably the least favorite and most time-consuming and costly activity out there. And frankly, it takes time away from strategic business initiatives. And it's just not the smartest way an IT team or a security team can spend their time. Cyber insurance. I'm sure you guys have heard about cyber insurance requirements. Even before the pandemic, cyber insurers were tightening their underwriting guidelines and asking for more detail to better understand the risk they were insuring. Once the pandemic hit, we saw entire workforces migrating from working in an office where security was fairly controlled to working remotely, where frankly, security isn't that controlled. This and the growing use of cloud have accelerated the interconnectedness of the business environment, increasing businesses' exposure and increasing risk. So what organizations are faced with today is more risk. And since insurers have changed their appetite for risk, this is reflected in the increasing cost of coverage and level of stringency when it comes to cyber insurance requirement. Next up, compliance. SOC 2, HIPAA, PCI DSS, all of these industry standards require you meet certain tech requirements in order to qualify. And violations of these mandates can literally make or break an SMB, either through loss of reputation or a hierarchy of fines. You know, this is a pretty depressing slide, I'll give you that, but add in insufficient response capabilities, and it's probably the most depressing slide ever made. My point, you know, you and your customers are dealing with a lot of challenges, many of them daily challenges. And, you know, while Jane and I were doing discovery, we got to hear all about it. MDR Foundations is the result of these conversations. MDR Foundations is purpose-built for less security mature organizations that struggle with one, if not all, of these problems. So the general category of managed security services has been around for quite a few years. However, the focus and specialization on MDR is more limited to the past 5 years or so. If you take nothing else from this slide, take the fact that the MDR market is growing massively. By 2025, the MDR market is set to reach $4.9 billion or 5.4 billion euro. The Australian cybersecurity market was valued at 4.6 billion in 2021, and it's expected to grow to 5.8 billion by 2024. When it comes to small and medium businesses, these organizations will account for cybersecurity for 33% of cybersecurity spend by 2025. You know, I know this group obviously is concerned about, you know, Australia and New Zealand, and I read in a recent report from IDC on Plan 22 spending on MDR that Asia and Pacific beat out EMEA and North America, with 34.7% of respondents reporting about a 10% increase in spending on MDR. 14.5% reported a 10 to 20% increase in spending, and 3.5% reported more than a 20% increase on spending on managed detection response services. So what does this mean? Your customers, your prospects are looking to MDR, and if you're not selling it, you're missing out on a major opportunity. All right, now let's take a look at adoption rates. So this graph was brought to us by Gartner. So larger enterprises show the most interest in adoption, but overall adoption market share grew most substantially in the small and medium markets. MDR adoption was accelerated in part by the remote workforce requirements initiated during COVID-19, and compounding the challenge for SMBs are the more limited sizes of security teams. Each of these aspects drove organizations to quickly tackle security operation demands by utilizing third parties. And these organizations have sought to diminish costs associated with in-house security operations by moving to third parties, outsourced options. So what can we look forward to? Adoption in the small and medium markets will continue to accelerate as new MDR providers focus on the lower end of the market enter the space, and existing providers mature their MDR offerings to include more co-managed and end-to-end outsourcing options. So this is a snapshot of where Bitdefender MDR currently resides from a market standpoint. Our sweet spot is mid-market. Our MDR service is about 2.5 years old now, and over the past few years, we've proven very successful at capturing organizations to mid to high levels of security maturity. But in doing so, we recognized a gap. We were leaving out small and medium businesses who could truly benefit from the 24/7 monitoring and response provided by our MDR service. So this is where we are now. You know, I know we have partners from different segments of the market on this webinar, and with MDR Foundations, we are bringing an enterprise-grade MDR service to these markets. When we set out to create Foundations, it was really important that we maintain the integrity of our MDR service. MDR Foundations is not managed EDR. It is not managed AV. It is not MDR Lite. It is veritable managed detection and response. And with Foundations, we're targeting small and mid-sized businesses with lower degrees of IT and security maturity. Think a dentist office or a doctor's office, your local burger joint, a notary. These are organizations who need MDR but can't necessarily afford it. There is immense opportunity for partners in the small to medium-sized business markets to make money and grow their install base. Like I said, managed security services will account for some 33% of SMB security spending by 2025. There are numerous market opportunities, and with MDR Foundations, you can take advantage of that immense market opportunity. So, how does MDR add value? Not just MDR Foundations, but MDR as a discipline, as a practice. Building an in-house threat detection and response function is not feasible for most organizations due to, as we just heard, security talent shortages and limited budgets. Bitdefender MDR is about articulating value and mapping that value to business outcomes. So where is the value we provide? First and foremost, it's in saved time. Customers save 60 hours in alert triage, investigation, containment, and hunting in the first month of onboarding with Bitdefender MDR. MDR also allows you to spend your budget more efficiently. Building an in-house SOC is upwards of $15 million. Think about all of the people required to build a SOC at scale. A fully scalable SOC is 26 individuals. Think about that. That is so much money. I mean, it's not just human resources, it's technology resources, it's investment in processes. Shift that to an outsourced solution. Outsourcing allows organizations to focus remaining budget on critical hires without the requirement of deep security expertise. You know, a lot of the argument with small and medium businesses is that if they do have a security headcount, it's not a security specialist, it's a security generalist. And a security generalist doesn't necessarily have the skill and expertise to execute on everything that an organization requires to keep it cyber resilient. Last but not least, Bitdefender MDR ensures risk reduction. Our analysts spend up to 70% of their time proactively hunting in customer environments. In the last year, our CIFC team, our Cyber Intelligence Fusion Cell, issued 7,500 alerts to customers for risk like credential leaks and exposed code bases. 90% of those hunts have actionable findings, which is huge. So, for what we're here today to learn about, MDR Foundations. It is an MDR service that provides 24/7 monitoring and response, threat intel-based hunting, and expert recommendations for MSPs and less security mature customers at an affordable price point. So what are the pillars that make up MDR Foundations? Well, first, our best-in-class technology. We are built on top of our Gravity Zone XDR platform. You know, Bitdefender, we're a 20-some-year-old company. We were, founded and matured off endpoint security. Gravity Zone is the best that's out there, and tests like AV comparatives, MITRE Ingenuity, all of those reflect that expertise. Next up, 24/7 analyst-led monitoring and response. You know, MDR Foundations is what we call response native. That means that an MDR service that is simply an alerting layer on top of some base technology is not sufficient any longer to get our customers safe. Think about this scenario. It's 2 a.m., there's an attacker rooted in your environment. It's no longer sufficient to provide customers with an automated email and not do their best to contain the attacker within the environment. We monitor your infrastructure 24/7 and are there anytime an incident arises. Human responses, not automated bot responses, which leads me to threat hunting. Threat hunting is a huge part of the Bitdefender DNA, Bitdefender MDR DNA. We have an exceptionally talented, most of them hail from US Navy, NSA, US Air Force, etc. We research cyber threats, geopolitical activity, and vertical specific data trends to apply the knowledge to your environment as an MDR Foundations customer. So why will customers love Foundations? You know, we didn't build these features in a vacuum. We strove to make it easy to consume. And MDR Foundation presents customers and MSPs with minimal friction. You know, during the discovery calls I mentioned, you know, one organization said security should be like electricity, just flip on a single switch. That's why we made MDR Foundation simple and easy to onboard. We've also removed seat restrictions, term lengths, and made it easy for MSPs to select which customers to turn on MDR Foundations for. With that said, an MSP can select 1, 2, 3, all customers to turn on MDR Foundations for. It's up to the MSP. Ease of use. There's a lot of transparency in the portal, and I'll speak to this a little bit later when it comes to PAAs and tuning. And lastly, co-interaction and support. You know, we want you to look like the hero, both to your customers and within the organization. And I want you guys to know that these changes that came about due to MDR Foundation are actually reflected across the entire MDR portfolio. All right, so best in class threat detection and response. So incidents are triaged and transitioned. So if a customer opts to log into the Gravity Zone portal, most frequently they'll see triaged and closed incidents. In addition, there will be notes in each of these incidents that we've worked on that tells customers why we closed them. So this gives you guys insight to what our analysts are doing and also shows where the value lies. Pivot. So this is pretty much the largest source of feedback we received. It was previously difficult for us to link cases to Gravity Zone incidents. Not anymore. With the release of Foundations, you'll be able to one-click pivot from cases related to Gravity Zone incidents to the MDR portal with no additional authentication required. Enterprise-grade incident response. If there's actually an incident, we're providing at every tier what we're calling enterprise-grade incident response. It doesn't matter how much you paid. It doesn't matter what tier you're in. If we believe there is an attacker with hands on keyboard, we are trying our hardest to establish the root cause, that we've rooted them out of your environment, that we're monitoring the situation and looking for additional vectors. And intel-based threat hunting. So a lot of competitors automate this, but we really wanted to maintain a degree of productivity to our service. You know, we're fundamentally staying true to what threat hunting means to Bitdefender MDR and has meant for years. It's part of our DNA, and with Foundations, we're proving that. Next up, attackers looking for soft targets cast a wide net. Attackers look for vulnerabilities according to geography and industry. We look at customers like attackers look at organizations, at their profiles, and we're better equipped to proactively respond. So that means we're the good guys who are capable of thinking like the bad guys in order to better protect our customers. And lastly, we leverage findings from all of our CIFC activity to your MDR Foundations customer. That means at the enterprise level tier, if we see a certain type of activity or an enterprise customer says, hey, I'm seeing something strange, we'll root it out and we will share that knowledge. It will be a trickle down effect. So customers, regardless of tier, will benefit from the knowledge gained by CIFC at the enterprise tier. And to the left, you can see an example of a real life use case. I'm sorry, to the right, and a breakdown of the specific actions taken and the reports generated. All right, transparency and tuning. So notifications are a game changer when it comes to foundations. Let's take a look at customizable email notifications. There's two perspectives on this. The first one is to being maximally informed about anything our SOC is doing. Be it monthly reports, incident reports, threat hunts, incidents, customers can opt into what they want to receive notifications about. They have the opportunity to choose what matters the most to them. As an MSP or a larger organization, you can opt to receive digest of certain events, bundled reports. Larger MSPs don't necessarily want to see every report from every single one of their customers. With our notification updates, they don't have to. They can choose what they want to see. So pre-approved actions and contacts. We often get the question, what are you actually doing when an attacker's hands are on keyboard? We provide every customer with the ability to granularly tune what actions we take on their behalf and provide notes on how we utilize those actions. We also define escalations by providing exact call trees we want you to progress through when there's an incident. And onboarding. So we've streamlined onboarding substantially, and basically we've taken everything that was external and put it in the background. Customers, partners basically receive an email invite link to the MDR portal and sign up. MSPs will also be able to see usage for MDR Foundations in the monthly license usage report. And this is all supported by API provisioning and billing. So basically, in order to get MDR Foundations, disties go into Gravity Zone, toggle on for an MSP, they'll get an invite, and you're on your way. Okay, so let's take a look at MDR Foundations in the larger scope of the MDR portfolio. So MDR Foundations fundamentally extends our portfolio to address a wider range of customer needs. So while we do talk about the importance of mapping to value, there are some conversations in which speeds and feeds are necessary. And that's why I'm presenting you with a feature table. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going to focus on a few highlights. So 24/7 security operations available across all tiers, fundamentally. Our MDR portal also available across all tiers. The MDR portal provides visibility into our service, incidents, documents, reports, contacts, PAAs, everything. Threat hunting, again, this is not automated threat hunting. This is veritable human-led threat hunting available across all tiers. XDR is also available as an add-on across all tiers. The add-on sensors we have are cloud, productivity, network, and identity. It's important to note the security account manager is dedicated in premium and enterprise. However, it is also dedicated in the case of an incident in Foundations. So Premium and Enterprise, consistent, dedicated security account manager. With Foundations, in the case of an incident, you get a dedicated security account manager. So in terms of differentiation, when you think about this, the difference between Foundations and Premium, when you think about Premium, think about customizability and support. When you think about the difference between Premium and Enterprise, think about Enterprise as having advanced threat intelligence capabilities. So Enterprise would be a really good fit for customers with unique or challenging threat profiles. Okay, so we built MDR Foundations in order to emphasize the value of people. So your ability to reach out to our experts is very important to the design. That's how we made it. You know, for medium to low alerts, you'll receive investigations in the MDR portal within a day. So examples of medium to low alerts, potential unwanted applications, apps that may have, you know, legitimate purposes, but probably are unwanted, or maldoc, which is malicious document. Think about additional items that would cause a medium alert, adware, torrenting software, etc. For inbound questions and concerns, such as, you know, the MDR portal is having issues, what does this alert mean, etc. You'll have access to priority enterprise support, and all tickets will be responded to based on severity from 2 hours up. Most importantly, you will get enterprise-grade incident response in the case of a critical or high alert. This means, as I said on a previous slide, this means a dedicated security account manager will be making direct outreach within 30 minutes of detection, and every 30 minutes after, we will continue to work with you and your teams. So MDR Foundations, we launched July 12th, and this is kind of a reiteration slide. This is basically what we have heard from our partners is the most important: cyber resilience, robust response, and ease of onboarding. You know, that crucial 24/7 monitoring and response ensures MDR Foundation customers are cyber resilient from the day they onboard, all day, every day. Threat intel or risk-based threat hunting ensures they maintain cyber resiliency and are aware of all of the activity occurring in the threat landscape. When it comes to robust response, we provide containment actions on behalf of the customer to limit the impact of an attacker. And we also provide premium and enterprise grade incident response. Ease of onboarding. So customers will be able to begin monitoring their endpoints in less than a day, which makes it a full turnkey service. And this is huge to our partners and so impactful to the partners currently that we're currently in our beta program. And we've received great feedback in terms of the measures we've taken to streamline the onboarding process. And the marketing spiel. So we have a ton of new and updated MDR assets and MDR Foundation specific assets available for use. We are happy to share those. Most of them are on PAN, our partner network, and also updated pages on our website. So if there's any questions in terms of how do I get access to this or that, just let us know and we'll get you that material. And Q&A. Are there questions? somebody moderating.
Hey, Aaron, this is Mike. I was answering some questions that were posed in the chat.
Okay, great, because I can't seem to move my screen.
No worries. No worries.
So I can't read any of the questions. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, I got a question that just came in. Are EDR and ATS add-ons prerequisites for MDR? The answer to that is yes, they are. So both must be enabled, and then you enable the MDR service, which allows the telemetry from Gravity Zone to reach our SOC. So the answer to that question is yes. Then there was some questions. There's a question regarding costs. I will allow the blue chip folks on the call to answer that question.
How would you define your target market's InfoSec team size? Specifically for foundations, I would say they don't have an InfoSec team.
Yeah. The way I answered it, Aaron, is basically the target market is any customer who wants to outsource their SOC services. So either they don't have the resources in-house, or they don't want to spend the capital necessary to maintain those resources in their environment. So it's not necessarily the size of the team or the size of the customer, but whether or not they want to outsource security operations to another entity like Bitdefender. So what we're seeing is customers are interested on the small scale because they don't have resources, but we're also seeing larger customers also looking at outsourcing their operation because they want to spend that capital elsewhere. And so both are true.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
There was also a question in the chat about how different is this MDR service versus traditional outsourced SOC services. What we've found in the market is that most SOC services that are sold in the market are more alert functions. So they will correlate incidents, they will prioritize incidents, and then they will alert partners, and they expect partners and customers to respond to those incidents. Bitdefender does not take that approach, and I think that's why Erin emphasized in her presentation that Bitdefender will take action on behalf of the customer to defend their environment against attackers. And so I think that's one of the areas where Bitdefender separates itself from most SOC services out there, is that we actually do respond rather than just alert. Let's see. How does licensing work with MSP-based monthly licensing? Each endpoint will have, think of MDR service as an add-on. So just like you would, you have the core product from Bitdefender, and you have, maybe you have ATS and EDR, and you're billed per device per month. MDR is licensed the same way. So you would pay for the MDR add-on per device per month. There are a couple of, there's no minimum number of devices that you can onboard. However, when you onboard one of your customers, all of those devices within that customer need to be onboarded with the MDR service. So it's not a, you can't onboard a partial environment, but you can have a customer with 5 devices and onboard that customer onto the MDR service. So all the devices within a customer must be onboarded, but there's no minimum number of devices for this particular service. And there's no minimum time commitment as well. So it's a monthly service. You can enable it or disable it on a monthly basis. Let's see. Maybe Aaron, maybe you could take this one from John. The question was, will partners get an IUR for MDR?
I don't know what IUR is. I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Maybe define what an IUR is, John, exactly what you're looking for there. Let's see. Give an example of the process would happen once an incident occurred. Maybe Aaron, you could take that one as well. So give an example of the process that would happen once an incident occurred. Client clicks on an email, malware starts encrypting files, Bitdefender identifies, sends alerts to the SOC team. Well, one of the things that's very difficult to actually happen in a Bitdefender defended environment. So there's MDR is just one security control that Bitdefender has. We have over 30 plus security controls that are built in. So it's not as simple in a Bitdefender defended environment where, or I guess it's not a given that a user clicks on an email and then encryption just starts. It has to get past 30 plus other security controls to start encrypting files. But let's say that actually happens. Aaron, maybe walk us through exactly what the MDR team, or an example of what the MDR team would do in that particular case.
So if you've opted into a pre-approved action, they would notify you, let the customer know that an incident had occurred, and they would root out the attacker and contain and then evaluate whether there are additional vectors. They would provide constant communication with the customer. As I said earlier, it's, if it's a critical or high alert, they notify you immediately, and then 30 minutes, every 30 minutes preceding that, until it was contained and eradicated.
Great. We got some, internal use. That's what IUR is. So, so I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, if we have like an NFR or internal use type licensing for MDR.
We do not.
Yeah, I didn't think we did. And the reason why is that, well, this is Mike's reason, but there are probably other reasons. But when you talk about an MDR service, you're talking about human resources, and human resources are way more expensive than intellectual property. So a lot of software has like internal use licensing, and that's because it's basically allowing you to use some intellectual property. But in the case of an MDR service, you're basically asking, if you're looking for internal use, Bitdefender to pay resources, pay very expensive human resources in order to defend an environment for zero cost. And so there's not really an internal use license for usually any type of human capital resources. Great questions coming in. Let's see, are there marketing material? Are there marketing materials available? Yes, there are marketing materials available.
Yes, and we send out our partner newsletter every month. I think this month is going out shortly, and it will include links to all of that material.
There's another question. Oh, great question. So what does the scope of MDR security fence look like? In other words, a client clicks on an email, does the security team log into computers, or do they just notify us and the customer? So I'll take a little bit of that, Aaron, and then if you want to add anything, you can. But basically, Bitdefender uses Gravity Zone, and Gravity Zone has access within our EDR console to take actions, whether that action, it could be isolating a host, it could be killing processes that are occurring on a particular system. When you isolate a host, we can also open up a console, a forensic console on that host. But the fact is that our security team doesn't have the rights to log into your customer's environments as a user, but we do have, through the Bitdefender EDR console, the ability to take actions remotely through the rights that Bitdefender has on that particular machine. And so those are the actions that our team would take in that particular case. Aaron, do you have anything else to add on that?
Yeah, regarding communication, it's totally up to you whether you would like us to communicate with the end customer. A lot of MSPs opt not to have us communicate. Other MSPs want us to communicate. So the degree of communication is flexible and up to you.
Yeah, great. If we have an interested client, should we talk to Bitdefender or Blue Chip? I would say talk to Blue Chip. Blue Chip's a great partner of Bitdefender. We have an excellent partnership there. I would say that if Blue Chip needs to engage Bitdefender resources on a sales opportunity, they can, but that would be up to the Blue Chip team to engage Bitdefender resources. So I would say reach out to the Blue Chip team. Oh, great question. Where is the SOC team based? So the SOC team is based primarily in San Antonio, Texas. And there's some strategic reasons why Bitdefender built our SOC there, but we're also expanding the SOC beyond that particular geo region as well over the next couple of years. Aaron, I don't know if you want to share, or we can share where that is expanding to, but maybe you can add some further clarity there.
We are in the process of developing a secondary SOC in EMEA. And by secondary, I just mean the second one, not secondary by any level of analysts. They're equivalent with the analysts we have in our current SOC. And when that is fully available, we will obviously make a public announcement, but right now we are focused on, finding the right people, building the right staff, and ensuring everyone is trained appropriately.
Let's see.
How on earth are you going to have enough staff?
I love that question. How on earth you can have enough staff for your SOC? Great question. One of the things that I have admired since coming to Bitdefender a couple of years ago is over half of our staff at Bitdefender, half of our employees are engineers by trade. So they are not in sales and marketing. They're hardcore engineers, research and developers. They're really smart folks. And so what Bitdefender does in this market is we do fantastic work on the automation side of security. So just like onboarding in most SOC services to onboard one of your customers into a normal SOC service is usually a week-long, maybe month-long, maybe multiple month-long endeavor where you're going back and forth between your customer and a normal SOC service to get them onboarded so that telemetry is flowing into the SOC as it should. At Bitdefender, because we are really good at automation, literally what you do is you have ATS and EDR enabled in your customer base. Hopefully that's already done. But if you have ATS and EDR fully functioning in your customer, the onboarding process is literally ticking a license box for that customer in the UI. That is it. When you do that, the rest of the onboarding process is an automated process. So what Bitdefender's done is we can build SOC services at scale without, a flood of humans, because we have we have built such great automation. And so in our SOC, we've built fantastic automated tools. We've also build that automation and that correlation between the SOC and our product. And so anyway, that's kind of a long-winded answer, but basically automation is the key. So we can make our analysts as efficient as possible, because we don't have a lot of human resources in a lot of areas that normal SOC services have to invest human resources in. Great question.
Thanks, Mike and Erin, for taking those questions. So for the rest of the questions, we might need to take offline, because we might running out of time for trivia game.
Yeah, there's two questions that I can answer really quick. So the last one is, did you touch on the onboarding? What does it look like? So the onboarding is basically enabling MDR Foundations in Gravity Zone in the licensing section of one of your customers. So once you do that, the onboarding of that customer is less than an hour, is the SLA. I would say that that's on the long side. It's more like in real time, it's more like minutes. But we say an hour to onboard that customer, as long as you have ATS and EDR enabled in your environment. So that's the onboarding process, is literally ticking the box in the licensing section. I mean to meet your 30-minute response. When is there a global threat release detected? So I'm not sure what that one is referring to. But if there's a global threat, maybe Erin, maybe you could take that as our last question. So if Bitdefender sees something globally, how does our team respond internally at the SOC for the customer base that are buying MDR Foundations?
Absolutely. We work in unison across our entire customer base, and instead of sending potentially individualized notifications to individual customers, we send incident advisory and actions to remediate, and connect you to your dedicated security account manager. And it's kind of in the same manner that we would respond to a single incident, but it's on a scale that includes all of our customers.
Yeah, great. So with that, we'll go ahead and close up. Any other questions we can answer? Maybe I'm not sure. We'll get the answers to Blue Chip, and then Blue Chip can process those answers and send them out. Want to thank you so much for your time. We know your time's valuable. Hopefully this service is something that you're looking forward to talking to your customers about. Again, the key Points are make sure the customer's on advanced threat security and EDR services, and talk to your blue chip account manager about pricing.